Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I am Channie, and today we're watching the science behind the gang wars of whales by Casual Geographic. Again, into the whale conversation we are. We're always back at whale conversations. I think I need like, I don't know, 5 years of advanced whale studies to fully understand like full scope of whale kingdom at this point. But yeah, let's see the science behind it. Goodness gracious. Why is it so loud? Ah, 1 second. They're just chilling though.
The ocean is the world's oldest hood, so.
Oh no. Oh yeah, I don't like this video at all. No.
There's
Okay.
Avengers
All
levels
right.
of conflict
Okay.
happening under
Amazing
the waves,
start.
and in the center of it all is Sea Thanos. The orcas' range is everywhere. Its diet is everything. Their breeding season is a day that ends in Y. They hunt whenever and no one ever hunts them. Poisonous orca is really that guy. It's an apex evolutionary attack dolphin, known to give great white sharks PTSD, and scare the literal, no figurative feces out of the biggest predator alive. We'll get to that. The cetaceous sea panda is an intellectual vibe check with a street name. Killer whale, a name they got after ancient whalers
Mama's
watched
the orca
what a
behind
barcoded
you.
armada could do to a barnacle bus stop. With the size, intelligence, and power of friendship, the whale killer might just be nature's favorite, and there's virtually nothing on the ocean census that can't get orked.
Oh my
All
goodness.
that dominance has a cost. Like
I'm not gonna lie, that bird's kind of silly. Like, why would you sit through that? He's looking at you, the mouth half open, like you should have known better. You literally have wings. You have wings. How do you let it get you?
But all that dominance has a cost. Like an ocean kingpin, orcas have made a lot of enemies, and there's at least 2 that'll bully them back. It all comes back to the often forgotten rule of nature. A predator has to be convinced you're worth the effort.
Gosh.
The prey will turn you into past tense before you go offense. The world of whale beef is messy, with alliances, rivalries, and straight mob mentality. Because for every orca, there's a pack of pilot whales. This is what orcas see in their nightmares, allegedly. Let's talk about it. Every dolphin is a whale, but not every whale is a dolphin. Pilot whales are a very big dolphin. They're the second biggest dolphin, only beat by the ocean equalizer. Pilot whales look like off-brand belugas, and that's pretty close to their personality. Pilot whales have been called the Ferraris of the sea, being clocked at over 30 miles per hour while hunting, and they'll use this speed to run up on pods of orcas. That, and the fact that pilots can roll in pods that get to over 100, is why killer whales may have a healthy amount of fear in a deep fake dolphin. Scientists in Iceland have seen orcas go from socializing to dead silent to suddenly synchronizing a retreat before a group of pilot whales pulled up. In some cases, the orcas were literally run out by the pilots, with both parties porpoising during the chase. And we know for a fact, pilot whales actively look for problems, since scientists in Norway played the sounds of orcas feeding, and that got their boat confronted by the pilot pack. It's even escalated to pilot whales imitating the calls of killer whales, and considering killer whales in different areas can have different dialects, pilot whales learn to lampoon the exact kind of orca in their neighborhood. Some say it's a form of ocean incognito, where they use.
That's actually insane. Like it's learning a dialect to like lure them in, because like they like socializing with each other, like the orcas. That's insane. Insane tactics.
To camouflage. But there's a world where pilots got so sick of the gimmicks they learned a language just to talk that cetacean shit. But it's not one-sided, as orcas will pack up and prey on pilot whales. There's also been more than one case of a group of orcas traveling with an orphan baby pilot whale, adopting it either as progeny or a practice dummy. My theory is that the trauma of losing a baby drives a mother orca to do the next best thing. Kidnap an infant pilot whale and try to brute force parenthood. It's a conflict that still has a lot of questions, and this story might just have another chapter. Cause what are the odds the orca's 2 biggest enemies are friends? Humpbacks prove you can always be a bigger hater, and there's no bigger hater than the one that interferes with orca hunts, even when the target isn't another humpback. In 5 decades of studying humpback orca spats, in only 11% of them did the killer whales actually go after them. The other 89 involved orcas plotting on a completely different animal, and the humpbacks getting involved to play deep.
Okay, animals rescued by humpbacks. We have gray whales, common minke whales, Dall's porpoise, stellar sea lions, California sea lions, Weddell seals, crab-eater seals, harbor seals, elephant seals, and sunfish. We know about sunfish. I did not know there's this many seal types and sea lions. Wait, what's the like prime difference between a sea lion and a seal. I feel like, okay, maybe seals are more like roundy, at least in these pictures here. They look way rounder with their features than the sea lions. Like they have like a longer, is it called a snout? Snout or snoot? Snout, right? They seem to have like sharper, longer, protruding snout. I wonder if it's the same thing dogs do when they try to break up cat fights. Do they have their own swimming styles? Like a... Okay. That's crazy. Like when they see them, when they see them fighting, they stop it. The way humpbacks see orcas hunting and stop it. Perhaps. Maybe it's like, this is just a silly theory, but like maybe they know that orcas are giving a dangerous reputation, so they're like the PR team for the whales, and they're like, listen, bro, you gotta chill. I've done too many HR calls this week. I've saved this many other this week because of you. Like, you gotta chill. So maybe.
Defense. In fact, in over 100 encounters, the humpbacks approached the orcas 37% of the time, and the orcas were the instigators 26%. Meaning, when scientists could tell who wanted smoke, 58% of the time, the humpback mafia started it. Why?
Oh.
Well, maybe ask the pilot whales. Pilot whales and humpbacks have been seen socializing off Hawaii, with humpbacks even seeming to pet the pilots with their fins. They've even been caught communicating with each other, two completely different species. And it's not an accident. About 200 instances of whales and dolphins interacting were recorded across 19 different species, and what was found was that not only were a third of all humpback encounters classified as positive, with the whales seeming to seek out the dolphins, humpbacks were way more dolphin tolerant than others like the blue, fin, and northern white whales. And let's not just slide past the interspecies communication. That is wild, and who knows what they're saying. They could be plotting the most devious hit on an orca. There's no Rosetta Stone for that. Of course, that's a joke. One, because I don't believe they have
dapping each other.
Their version of a white pointy robe pep rally to plot against an apex predator. But also two, humpbacks aren't exactly immune to the habits of a pilot whale. According to the Latin American Journal of Aquatic Mammals, pilot whales often rage bait humpbacks, with short-fin pilot whales seen antagonizing the humpback variety off Puerto Rico, harassment that the whales were visibly stressed by. One sighting saw a gang of pilots approach a pod of humpback whales, with the humpbacks reacting by trumpeting and tail slapping, basically a cetacean crash out. One theory says the pilot whale is a kleptoparasite, whose meal prep involves harassing a humpback into stress regurgitating its last meal so the pilot can swoop in for the steal. Mind you, humpbacks in Puerto Rico probably haven't eaten since they were in the Arctic, so it's like picking a fight with a Muslim dead in the middle of Ramadan. In the moment passage off Puerto Rico, a bunch of pilot whales pulled up to harass a humpback pod, until the humpbacks dove underwater and resurfaced a distance away, until the pilots peeped them and went over to choose conflict again. This cycle continued like a game until the humpbacks eventually left the area, and chances are a game is exactly what was happening. Some genuinely believe that pilot whales mess with other whales for fun, not for food, simply love of the game. They're just being dicks. And humpbacks are the whales that tolerate them, but what they don't accept is anything orca. In 2012, a pod of orcas murked a gray whale calf, but the plot twist was the 14 humpbacks that rushed in to back up the 2 already on scene. And what scientists saw was the humpbacks gatekeeping the killer whales, with one even putting himself next to the past tense calf and wailing out anytime an orca got close. For 6.5 hours, the humpback hood calorie blocked the orcas, even ignoring an enticing swarm of nearby krill to remain to float on business. You see, orcas don't go after humpbacks often, but when they do, it's usually targeting a calf with its mother, which usually involves separating them and reverse baptizing the baby. The thing is, adult humpbacks are much less fearful of a monochrome mammal and are triggered by the sounds of an orca hunt and will come swimming, especially since any young humpback in the area are likely a relative of their own. So they're on sound with orcas, even if the target ends up being a Pacific placemat, because the lesson every humpback learns is, no orca alive shall prosper. And that's on pod. Mind you, not all killer whales are whale killers. Only about 10 to 15% of them are mammal-eating killer whales, meaning humpbacks might just be profiling. They see color, 2 in particular. But if humpbacks could see everything killer whales do, they'd probably let them slide a lot more. Humpbacks have more than a zebra to stress about. In 2017 in
I'm confused. What was that about the color? They couldn't see what color?
That's on pod. Mind you, not all killer whales are whale killers. Only about 10 to 15% of them are mammal-eating killer whales, meaning humpbacks might just be profiling. They see color, 2 in particular. But if humpbacks could see everything killer whales do, they'd probably let them slide a lot more. Humpbacks have more than a zebra to stress about. In 2017 in Mossel Bay, South Africa, scientists watched an injured whale get jumped by 8 great white sharks.
Oh my
It's
days.
not often, but great whites will pack up their young, sick, or injured, especially during migration. It's rare, but the chances aren't zero. Unless an orca's around. That wasn't a joke earlier. Orcas legitimately give jaws PTSD, and it's scientifically proven that great whites will abandon even favorite hunting grounds for up to a year if they even sense
For
a
a
giant
whole
oppression
year?
dolphin once. In fact, the number of great whites has flatlined in many places off South Africa, like False Bay, so low that it's legitimately affecting tourism. And one of the biggest non-human reasons might be orcas. 2 in particular. Since 2015, port and starboard have been raining hell on the whites, with many late great shark carcasses washing ashore
my
with
days.
missing livers, including a 16-foot female named Khaleesi. These 2 orcas in arms have terrorized sharks of any species. In 2023, the duo life-deprived nearly 27 gill sharks in one day, and starboard
one
might be
day?
the biggest menace. Fun fact, starboard is the first orca ever recorded murking a great white shark by himself after eviscerating one in less than 2 minutes completely solo. Port and starboard are named after how they tend to split the sharks they kill, left and right. That's not true, it's based on their fins. But for about a decade, these 2 have been violating sharks without remorse, recourse as a final course to force soul divorce, not to beat a dead horse. But killer whales ironically
Okay,
do
bars?
humpbacks a
Hold on.
solid, as the South African rest stop of their migration now has way less sharks. But we've known that sharks tend to get their cookies taken by orcas. But great whites can also get sent packing by their own prey. It's well known that a sea lion to a shark is basically a chew toy, with one fur seal having no chance against a 16-foot, 2,000+ pound bioweapon. But this movie has an alternate ending, with gangs of fur seals mobbing hunting sharks. Imagine getting chased out of a drive-thru by a horde of homicidal hot dogs. That's this shark's reality. It's the same mob mentality humpbacks use on orcas, and fur seals will press a great white into retreating back to sea. This weaponized friendship has been clocked all the way back to 2005, with a group of adult male Australian fur seals jumping a great white shark that wandered too close to the colony's pups. But orcas might have just lit a fuse under the fur seals. The decline of great whites in places like False Bay may have honestly boosted the confidence of the seals. Not only do they now act way bolder, studies showed that the stress hormone levels of fur seals
Bro. Look at their expression. I can't. Bro think he runs the world. Look at him.
I do whatever I want.
Oh my, he's just a chill guy. He's just a chill guy. Look at him. Look at that face. Look at that pose. Ooh-wee. Not a single worry in the world. And the one behind too. They're just chilling. They run the street. They don't care that they're blocking the way. Crazy.
False Bay went down as the shark numbers did. Orcas might take the seal out to sea and leave it with an L, but they
Just
might have also
basking in the
emboldened
sun,
the fur seals
truly.
against their biggest op. And few realize how horrific a family of fur seals open carrying confidence can be. Although they likely did need much,
Oh!
because apparently seals
was
can't
that?
get along with each other. In many places, elephant and fur seals cross paths, and they do not get along. They're both pinnipeds, but technically fur seals aren't true seals. They're actually
Okay, wait. Pinnipeds, fur seal, and elephant seal. I thought this one was fur seal too. It just like because it was in the water, the fur kind of like flattened down. But I guess this one actually doesn't have fur at all. It's more like elephant skin, if we go by the name, right? Or you're not allowed to touch them. I didn't know where I read that. Was it elephants or was it or not elephants? Was it elephant seal or was it penguins that you're not allowed to touch? Maybe it's everything. I don't know.
closer to sea lions. Elephant seals see all that and choose to be the world's biggest bigots about it, since some have a bad habit of using baby fur seals as chew toys. Buffle is a 14-foot migrant that annually shows up on Cape Town beaches, where he has a yearly tradition of using young false seals as stress balls for his mouth. One
My
elephant
days.
seal was caught grabbing a pup, making a disturbingly literal baby shower before swallowing it whole.
Oh,
Clearly,
the
fur
is
seals
the
have
front
way
of
more to
their
worry about than just
face like
sharks.
that?
But sharks might not have a bigger enemy than dolphins.
Is that why they're called
Dolphins don't
elephant
exactly
seals?
bully sharks. A study done in Shark Bay, Australia found that 74% of bottlenose dolphins were found with at least one scar from a shark attack, and more than a third of those in Sarasota Bay have had
So
a chunk
pretty.
or two taken out of them. So the catch is, while dolphins are a small part of a shark's diet, almost every dolphin will have at least one bad memory of a shark. The dolphin default is actually to avoid sharks, so not exactly like pilot whales to orcas, but they will gang up on them when they have the advantage. Usually, it's just for intimidation, but sometimes it involves dolphins ramming sharks in the gills so they choke on their
Oh my
own blood.
days.
So basically, sharks prey on dolphins and leave dolphins preying, with dolphins usually social distancing from them. But dolphins will also mob sharks, and in a lot of studies, dolphins were the ones initiating harassment, like in the form of using a baby shark as a volleyball. But it also helps that they have an alliance with another member of the cetacean persuasion, one that sends sharks swimming.
Cetacean persuasion, sir.
Or at least it would if it wasn't a false killer whale. That is called a false killer whale, which
They're so
sucks because it's way more than
scary.
an imitation orca. Not to be confused with the pilot whale, because where the pilot whale looks like a black rough draft beluga, the not an orca looks like a free willy paralysis demon. On the surface, that is Satan's favorite cetacean creation, slender whale body built. They have no business looking like the black Air Force of orcas, and those eyes, good God, those
They're
eyes.
very
Those are the
creepy
eyes of an ocean
looking.
chain chomp that shouldn't be trusted. And that's why you don't judge a whale by its mugshot. False killer whales will often form relationships with other dolphins, especially bottlenoses. These bonds can last years and cover hundreds of ocean miles, especially in New Zealand, where falsies will actively seek out dolphins, not just to hunt together, but to play too, and scientists swear that individuals can recognize each other even after years of separation. In fact, false killer whales and dolphins will often merge pods to form a giant superpod, up to 1,000 strong. It goes deeper, with stories of falsies responding to the distress calls of other species, and even aiding other dolphins during childbirth. As close as you think pseudo-orcas and bottlenoses are, they're closer. How close? Well, when a male falsie and a female bottleface get close enough, the outcome is called a wolfin. It's also
A
not just
wolfin?
dolphins. Anyone who dives enough will confirm that false killer whales are one of the friendliest things you can run into in the ocean, and there's even stories of them offering fish to strangers. But of course,
Wait.
the world of whale politics is messy, and falsies don't have goodwill with everyone. They're also liable to get T-boned by an orca, who sometimes show them
Goodness.
what a real killer looks like. And if you think that'd make them a friend to humpback whales, falsies have also been known to harass humpback whales, with one case in Hawaii where a group murked one. But there's another animal they find conflict with, and you'd probably never guess it. Because respectfully, as the biggest predator on the planet, sperm whales have no business getting bullied by anyone. Yet, you can find
yeah.
reports of false killer whales running up on sperm whales the same way pilots do to orcas. Even back in the 90s, scientists somehow witnessed a group of sperm whales in the Galapagos.
Okay, wait. Before we move on to these ones, so the one that looks creepy is not actually bad, right? It's not as scary as it looks. We shouldn't judge it by its cover. I understand this, right? Creepy one is actually a nice guy, sorta. I see. Damn. I'm sorry for calling it creepy. I'm sorry. I forgot his name. It's something something whale. I'm sorry for calling you creepy. I'm sure you're nice. Yeah, false killer. Yeah, false killer whale. The full whale. Okay, noted.
Get ambushed by a gang of 25 falsies, joined by, interestingly, 15 bottlenose dolphins. I told you they were tight, but it was likely a bluff that didn't accomplish any real damage, which isn't always the case. There is one animal with the audacity to hunt modern-day Leviathan, but at this point it should be no surprise.
What is that? Why
Orcas
does
are
it look
ocean
like that?
Stan Lee. They pop up everywhere. They usually avoid each other, but a party of plus-size predators working as a wolf pack will target the young, sick, or isolated. But orcas predictably can get bold about it. Back in 1997, 35 killer whales attacked a pod of 9 sperm whales, resulting in a 4-hour onslaught that left every sperm whale injured and one dead. 20 years later, a pod of 8 killer whales ran up on a group of 100 sperm whales off Sri Lanka. That's not a typo. Nobody died, but the audacity was nearly fatal, especially since sperm whales, for whatever reason, don't really fight
goodness,
back.
the
Their main
scars.
defense is to get into a formation called a rosette, with the weak put in the middle. There's that, and serving a poop slushy at orcas, since real-life lobies will also
Ew.
use a cloud of diarrhea as offensive
Ew.
self-defense. This bowel bath bomb is sometimes
my
enough to
God,
save their lives,
ew.
but it also
What?
means orcas have the ocean's biggest predators soiling themselves by the metric ton. But it seems there's one predator orcas won't hunt, and it's the most successful and most destructive one of it's us.
Humans?
You know it's
Yeah.
us. Outside of a glorified fishbowl, orcas have never been known to kill a human, or at least never been caught doing it. In fact, not too long ago, there was a time where humans hunted alongside orcas, with the two working together in New South Wales, Australia. Basically, the orcas would herd the whales to shore and then alert the whalers with a tail slap, and the law of tongue meant the orcas were entitled to the lips and tongue of anything they helped you kill. Even today, a wild orca is less likely to feed on you than just feed you. For as long as we've known them, humans have been on the orca whitelist, and that might just be changing. You see, orcas are intelligent enough to have different cultures and trends. Like one orca wore a salmon as a hat, and within a week
Then
had the
everyone,
whole pod doing it. And a recent orca trend involves
every other
sinking
orca was
yachts.
doing it.
It started in 2020 with a pod ramming and eventually downing a 50-foot yacht off Gibraltar. Since then, there have been over 700, again not a typo, I checked, of these attacks, and most of the real damage was to the ship's rudders. Mind you, some of these attacks lasted over 2 hours, so it's really looking like humpback levels of hating. Also, while researching, I realized there's more than one case of killer whales failing a hunt, only to then target the boat of the researchers watching it happen out of spite. So what are the orcas cooking? I have my theories. One is that orcas are treating hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of vessels as toys, and all it would take is one orca messing with a boat for fun and telling his homies for a new trend to hit humanity. Or it could be revenge. All that would take is one orca having a bad experience with a boat for the whole family to slide, fueled by generational rage. Especially if it happened to a grandmother, because you know the moment she brought it to the pod, it'd be up for everyone. In fact, chances are, they teach this same behavior to their young. There's a lot we still don't know about the ocean, and all the nonsense that happens in it. But one thing I'll say every time I speak on anything, Dolphin, is that animals aren't good. Animals aren't evil. They're just animals. Animals just trying to make it to the next day any way they can. It's not Orca's fault, they're just that much better at it. Simply a skill issue for everyone else. I'm gonna keep saying it as long as there's people on Twitter saying I want them dead. So probably forever. But until then, drink water, hug your mother. If you see an orca, apologize. Doesn't matter what for, just do it. Support the whales, call your father, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next one.
Uh-oh. Oh my god, that's so scary. Alright, so that was the science behind the gang wars of whales. It was a lot of complicated beef. A lot of a lot of beef, bro. Like they be attacking each other. They be attacking other big predators. They have no care in the world, truly. And also that one killer, false killer whale having super bad PR. Like, oh my god, they need to, like, I don't know. They need to hire a new photographer or something. Like, they deserve some grace in the pictures of theirs that are being shared, because goodness gracious, is giving them a really bad rep. Turns out they're not really the bad guy. They're just a chill guy, for real, for real. Matter of fact, they be duplicating with certain dolphins and making something called a wolfin. It's kind of cute name, a wolfin. But yeah, orcas are super fascinating, honestly. I think they're very, like I said, just very fascinating. And the fact that they can like have different dialects and different cultures and trends depending on where they are. And the whole like them having trends is so like, wow, so intelligent, so crazy. But yeah, that was it for today's reaction. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you did. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, YouTube!